He's never fought us. Not us united.
Oh! I can so see that. That's it. Welcome to Comics League, Justice League Rewatch. I'm Jared. I'm here with my boy Nick from the Phoenix Press. What's up, dude?
You know, they always say, like, people always talk about being a mind reader, but I think this two-parter shows how bad of an idea that really is.
Yeah. So today we're talking about the Tabula Rasa arc, which is the introduction of the Amazo Android. Hint, he will be important later in the show. So what I love about this episode... Yeah, what I love about this episode, this shows what a horrible parent Lex Luthor is, because he's like, go kill the Justice League. If you love me, you'll go kill my enemies for me.
Yeah. Also, like, Mercy is kind of an idiot. I honestly, like, every time he's weak, she thinks she can stand up to him, but like the moment like he gets like assertive, she crumbles. Like, don't you think? We'll talk about that when we get to the end of this arc. But yeah, Mercy's not the brightest bulb.
No, she's not. So anyway, so the episode starts off. We have Hawkgirl just fighting Lex Luthor. Basically, it's a battle. They beat Lex Luthor, and he's very frail and weak for some reason. That will be answered later in the show as well. So more foreshadowing.
They've been teasing it the entire series. So,
do you want me to just go ahead and say it?
No.
Okay, good. So
I want to find out what happens.
The point is, this will be addressed later in the show. So anyway,
cool.
He essentially goes and pays a visit to his best friend, Professor Ivo. And those of you that know your DC Comics lore know that Professor Ivo is the inventor of the Amazo Android. Now, what's Amazo?
I thought the Amazo was a ship that Oliver found near Lian-Yu.
So, moving on. Some of those Arrowverse like Easter eggs are just plain stupid. We are the Flash.
To be fair, that was during season 2 when they still hadn't opened up the world yet, so cut them some slack.
I mean, season 2 of Arrow was the best season of that show, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Because you had a Black Canary, Oliver Queen fighting Deathstroke, and a pretty badass portrayal of Deathstroke.
I actually really liked the finale of season 2 because like they actually were intercutting the final fight with that fight on the flashback, and it actually did kind of like, honestly, if you just watch season 1 and 2 of Arrow, you will get a complete story.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you'll get a solid story. Everything else just goes right down the hill by then. But the suits get cool. I'll continue to get cooler. But anyway, so back to this. Now, Amazo is an android that if he looks at you, he copies your powers, which is hilarious because when he tries to copy Batman's powers, in my mind, when he goes, "You don't have powers," and immediately, you know what passed in my mind? That line from Justice League where Bruce goes, "I'm rich. You don't have money."
Like that,
yeah, I'm gonna grab that.
You have every other great moment from the Snyder Cut, but you don't have that one. Why?
I need that. So because we talk about Batman so much, that couldn't be more appropriate. But anyway, I love where this is also where we get the first idea that like Batman keeps like kryptonite in his belt for contingencies. So I'm like, is this a backdoor Tower of Babel? Because technically, this is similar to that because he's fighting a guy that has the powers of all the Justice League members, and all of a sudden he reveals to them, I keep kryptonite in my belt, which begs the question, does he have the weaknesses of all the other Leaguers in his belt?
Also, low-key, one of my favorite moments, I love how Superman and Batman are just chilling in the Batmobile, and you cut to Superman.
Superman's
got
drinking
like a
coffee.
Mug. in the Batmobile, and they're just like sitting there. It's like, if these two could not be more bros if you wanted it to.
That was the best. That's like the most world's finest moment ever. That was just so good.
I love
They're
that
just
moment,
chilling.
like,
Superman is drinking hot cocoa.
or coffee or whatever, like whatever. Like,
Mhm.
and the best part is I could totally see that happening in any universe. Like, I would like imagine if they did that in the Snyderverse. Like, imagine Snyder Cut Part 2. They're just chilling in the Batmobile.
And Henry Cavill's in the suit, so he's not even like in the Clark Kent.
And he's drinking coffee.
Yeah, wait. They're in this. They're in the Batmobile, except it doesn't have the artillery gun there. But anyway,
And he's
but
like,
I just love it.
Like Superman flies down, and he says like, "Wow, the Batmobile looks so much weirder, so much different now that you removed the gun."
And then Bruce goes, "In my defense, you did tear the door off one of my car." But anyway, back to this episode. I also love the another interaction.
Okay, I gotta say this. Wait, I gotta say this. I would love a moment where like Superman needs to talk to Batman. He flies down and like he like say it right in front of him, and and as Batman comes out, Superman says, "I see your brakes have improved."
Yeah, that's
referencing the moment, that moment from BVS. I would like
where he decides to ram Superman. Yeah, that's gonna work. But anyway, another interaction in this episode that I dug was when Clark is like, when they're trying to like investigating the case, and then Clark like makes a good like deduction, and then Bruce goes, "You're learning." And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. I just love that.
I love because you got to realize these guys have been having character development long before the series even started.
No, Batman showed up in S-TAS.
Yeah, because remember, these like by the time Justice League starts, they have about 10 years worth of character development under their belt already.
It's like even in like the first episode of Justice League, and they're interacting each other, it's like Superman shows up, needs some help.
Yeah, I think this
translation is yes, you need some help.
I will say this is kind of the genius of Justice League as a culmination of the DCAU. Is like you really get to pay off all the character development you've had for like the past 10 years for all these characters. And I gotta say, it really pays off.
So yeah, 100%. It's really awesome. I love the Amazo Android acting a lot like a child trying to please Lex because he doesn't want to lose another father figure. Mm-hmm. But what I love is, and this is going to be the crux of this episode's discussion, the Martian Manhunter plot of this episode, which I don't know. Wait. I have to set it up real quick. So they tell to find their objective. I believe they're trying to find Lex. Superman tells Jean, mentally scan the entire city. And that goes about as well as you would think it goes.
I will say this. The setup for the storyline is a bit awkward. It almost feels like they're kind of like writing him out of most of the episode. Like it feels a bit disjointed. I like it. Mm-hmm. But it could have been written a little bit better. I will be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
like I like it. I actually really love the storyline. And once again, Justice League proves just how good it is. Can I have the stage?
Yes,
you don't need to focus on me. In this storyline, he scans the city and he's like hearing the thoughts of everyone, and he's hearing all their awful thoughts, and it's really breaking him emotionally, as it would anyone, really. And if this show was done today with modern writers, they would have just ended it there. The whole, people suck really bad. We have really bad thoughts. Humanity sucks. And yeah, they do say that, fair enough. But what I love is the thing that happens at the end, where right when John is about to give up, he comes across a group of people that are looking for a little girl, and he reads their mind, and he hears their thoughts of like, I will stay up as long as possible. I hope we find that girl. And it ignites the spark of hope in him. Because up after he had heard all these people, he had transformed back into his Martian form. Okay, it's kind of symbolic, you know what I'm saying? So he uses his powers to find the girl. And like my favorite moment is he goes down to the girl and you see his leg, and you see he's already transformed back into his Martian Manhunter form. And I love that because it's just such a symbolic kind of thing where it's like it's without saying a word, it says everything. It says he's gotten his hope back, he's gotten his belief in human beings. And also I love, like, you can tell how conditioned the human race is to like the weird stuff that happens, to where a Martian just like brings their daughter down and their first reaction is, oh, thank you. Because, like, I don't think they realize he's a leaguer. They probably think he's, like, some hero. Because the way they react to him, it's like, we don't know who you are, but we know you're a good person.
That's true. That's like when earlier in the episode, I mean, earlier in the series, when Barry and John are when the Flash and Green Lantern are investigating the Gorilla Grodd thing,
Names.
And I love where John goes, a talking gorilla seems a little far-fetched, and then Wally goes, wait a second, we both have the Martian's name in our speed dial. I think we're beyond weird right now. The show is basically that whole thing. Yeah, the people are like, yeah, fine. It's like even Commissioner Gordon in the Snyderverse, and that's why I love that scene in Justice League, even though he's in there for such a short time period. His whole expression, like when Cyborg shows up and he goes, okay, because you know he's been with Batman for like 20 years, so he's seen some stuff, so he's like, none of this surprises me.
Yeah, exactly.
But wait, there's this great scene in the World's Finest comics when they're tracking down the Batman Who Laughs, where Superman shows up, and Gordon goes, you know, on this job I've seen so many weird things, but a man that flies is just unsettling to me. Like, that's where he draws the line.
Okay.
It was so funny. But anyway, yeah, I agree with you. I love how the people like go, oh my gosh, the kid, thank you for saying. Well, I guess because it could also be that they were glad to see the kid. My one issue with John's whole loss of humanity thing, well, I like the arc, let me be clear. It's that he works with humans all the time on the Justice League. So
yeah, but he's never read the minds of so many people. Okay. Like, I'll defend it. I feel like he was very much overwhelmed because you got to realize with the Justice League, he kind of saw the best of humanity. Like, he was working with the greatest heroes in the world.
Oh, okay.
Like, can you, like, he was scanning the whole city, like a whole city. Can you imagine some of the depraved crap he heard?
Oh, jeez.
No, this is an entire city.
Some stuff we can't even say on this podcast.
He heard people boinking. He probably heard SA. He probably heard domestic abuse. Like, I'm using like phrases, but you all get what I'm saying.
I appreciate it. I guess that's true, and it could be like when he was overwhelmed, he was like, "They don't deserve our help." That's more like what. That's a way to explain that. So I got it. That works.
Yeah, and I'm sure some of this kind of reminded him of his treatment of his people on Mars and whatnot. You know, but like, I really like it because like modern writers would have just stopped at the people suck. They would have just stopped right there.
Yeah, they wouldn't have given him any like redemption or anything like that.
Like, not just redemption, but like, and this is something that really kind of ticks me off about like modern writing. It's so pessimistic. It's so, we're humanity, we suck. It's like, yes, they're like the first half. They're not wrong. You know, people can be really crappy, but also people can be really good. And
well. And it's like, what's interesting is that people always complain about the Snyderverse being all dark and gloomy. And I'm like, well, if you really watch, that entire universe is a love letter to Superman. Because look at what Superman inspires. Humanity finally rallies behind him because they see he's no longer a threat. He gave his life for us. Batman turns away from his dark ways. He inspires the creation of the Justice League. And at the end, at the last battle, he unites all of humanity.
And like, say what you will about Amazing Spider-Man 2, but like, I'm sorry. No, this is Amazing Spider-Man 1. Sorry. I think
I
you know
loved
what
both movies.
I think you know what scene I'm about to talk about. Probably my favorite scene in Amazing Spider-Man 1 is he's trying to get to the lizard, but his leg's kind of busted. And because he had saved like that guy earlier, like the crane, like this is kind of an homage to the scene from Spider-Man 1. But I think this Amazing Spider-Man 1 is like done a lot better because like they set it up. It's like a no good deed goes unpunished kind of thing. The crane operator, he gets all the crane people to lower the crane to give us it's like the city itself is moving ways to help him. It's just like the music and just like the hope, and it's just like
and the fact that he pushes past a gunshot wound, and then all of this, it just pays off. And the last crane he sees is the dude whose son he saved, and I'm like, yeah, that was pretty well done.
I love it because like you had that earlier scene, and that was the scene where Peter realized he could be a hero. Like that's why I've kind of come around to the fact like the Raimi films are still my favorite, but I feel like Amazing Spider-Man 1, they execute the Raimi ideas a lot better.
Which, by the way, we will be talking about those on movie night. Like, we can't not, because I enjoy both of those movies. I will go on record here, and it was recorded for all of Comics League history. I like those movies.
Yeah, we've done Spider-Man 1. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
We'll think about it.
You know.
But anyway, going back to this, I love where Amazo absorbs the Flash's powers, but he also gets his personality. Like when when Flash Mazo, yes, I'm calling him that, meets Mercy Graves, he's hitting on her, and then Lex goes, "Must be something he picked up."
That is smooth. That is.
And I love how Batman immediately puts together, it's a package deal. You may have gotten our strengths, but you also got our weaknesses. And then I'm like, how'd you put that together? And then he goes, because I'm Batman.
I mean, to be fair, if anyone's gonna figure out, it's gonna be Batman.
Yeah, and then I love where Hawkgirl goes, you keep kryptonite in your belt, and he goes, for insurance purposes.
Also, how much do you want to bet? Like, he didn't know it, but he kind of suspected, like, maybe, like, he thought, like, okay, maybe because they got the powers, they also got the weakness. Like, imagine, like, if they didn't, and he just holds out the kryptonite and it just didn't affect him. Like,
it doesn't do anything. And then that happens later because the Amazo Android adapts to and probably gets rid of that weakness thing, and then he just swats Batman away. Because what's Batman going to do against a guy that has the powers of Justice League?
I gotta say this. Imagine Hawkgirl's like, what? And Batman's like, I thought this would work.
My only critique is like, how is Amazo replicating a Green Lantern ring? Or like, it looks just like a Green Lantern construct is my issue. I thought I forgot about. I haven't seen this episode in so long before today, but I thought that when he like did the whole Green Lantern thing, it was just gonna be like a silver construct. I didn't know it was actually gonna be green. That's distinctly owing to
I don't know
technology. But still,
well, this is amazing technology.
Yeah, I did like. Again, I loved like the look about it, like where. I love the scene when Lantern is telling Superman, "Don't come here. If you come here, he will get even more powerful."
Yeah, I love how they ended it, where like he copies Superman's abilities. They're like, "Oh shoot!"
Because let's face it, Superman is the most powerful member of the Justice League. You could say Martian Manhunter is on his level, but ultimately Superman is going to prevail because of his heat vision, and Martians hate heat. That's why in the Snyder cut. Yeah, go ahead.
There's only one person who can really match Superman.
Batman.
No, it's a wonderful woman. Takes a wonderful woman to tame that beast.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story. In the New 52, this is how they did the Tower of Babel arc. They didn't do like the whole they have the contingency plans. In fact, the only person who knew pre-Rebirth that Batman had contingency plans was New 52 Superman. And because Batman trusts Clark enough that he brought him down to the Batcave, shows him it. then he gives him, he shows him Wonder Woman's box. And again, these are the boxes that have all their weaknesses. It's empty. So Superman goes, I don't understand. It's empty. He goes, because she doesn't have a weakness, Clark. In all likelihood, if she goes evil or something happens, you're the only one that could possibly take her down.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. That reminded me of that.
And I love, like, I think, like, from the movie version, Superman asked, what's your contingency plan if you go rogue? And he's like, you guys.
Well, what he says is Superman goes, are you really egotistical enough to not have a contingency plan if you go you go bad? He goes, I have a contingency. It's called the Justice League.
Because here's the thing. All of his contingency plans are, well, contingent on taking them down one by one. If the Justice League all came at him at once, Batman would not be able to overpower them.
The Flash and Superman alone could take out Batman. Because here's why. He can only attack one at a time. He can't really do both.
I mean, honestly, like, add Wonder Woman and Martian Manhunter. Like, honestly, Martian Manhunter... could all, like, it's like, you know, it's like all of them at once.
You're a vegetable.
It's like,
Vegetable.
Batman, I've removed your potty training. You're soiling your bat suit right now.
You are a bad vegetable. But yeah.
The fact that you, like, Martian Manhunter is using that voice.
Like, whenever anyone is, like, mind controlling Batman, they go into the Bale voice.
Can you tell that we're both really tired right now?
What are you talking about?
I don't...
You're too tired to even do it.
I've been up since 7 a.m.
Well, I appreciate your thing, but I want to bring up something that's interesting. Is that the name of this episode, Tabula Rasa? It's based on an epistemological concept that individuals are born without built-in mental content, and that therefore all knowledge comes from experience and perception, which applies to Amazo because he's a blank slate, and then as he meets the Justice League members, more is added, and then he evolves.
The whole nature versus nurture argument.
Yes, exactly. Which is why I may title this episode Lex Luthor's Horrible Parenting Skills. But anyway, and you notice, and then he turns gold and just flies off. We will not see him for a couple more arcs.
Oh, you know what you need to do? You know that line where Lex says, because I'm evil? You need to use that frame and then do a word bubble that says, because I'm evil.
Yeah, because it's pretty much saying, because I'm Batman. But anyway, and also when he returns, that is the single most meaningful episode for me. I will explain it when we get there. I have a very specific reason.
I love how, like, both of our rewatches, we're both holding our cards close to the chest. Like, we both have, like, moments that we want to share, but we want the other one to experience it.
I've hinted at it in earlier Comics League streams, but trust me, there's a moment in here that is complete, that blew my mind the first time I watched it.
I gotta say, I like that we're recording both Avatar and Justice League at the same time, because it was like we get the experience, but it flips, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, here's a piece of trivia for you. While searching for Lex Luthor, Amazo comes across a bald man talking on the phone who resembles and is voiced by Michael Rosenbaum. So Lex Luthor and Wally West cameos in this episode.
Also, is this a rare episode with all the Justice League members?
Yes, it is. Every single Justice League. I was hoping you would bring that up, which makes sense. What makes sense because they're fighting Amazo. Everyone better be fighting. And by the way, I want to bring up, going back to what you said about the John arc. Here's a little trivia. John's mental breakdown is similar to a concept used in the comic series Kingdom Come, taking place several years in the future after the Justice League has disbanded. Jean appears briefly in his Jean Jones guise, having suffered a near complete breakdown after trying to open his mind to everyone on Earth.
I feel bad for the guy.
Because can you imagine opening your mind to Professor X must have buns of steel to like endure all that. And they played off that in Days of Future Past, remember?
Oh yeah, you're right. Like
All the voices, all that pain.
I just gotta say this. I love the scene where you have old Xavier and like young Xavier talking. Like he's like, so many voices, so much pain, and then like old Xavier's like, I need you to hope again. Like both of those actors are putting on their A game.
And where we have old Professor X say just because doing the whole losing away doesn't mean the lost forever. But my favorite scene in that movie,
it's a very beautiful scene.
My favorite scene comes later when it's the end. It looks like everyone's gonna get killed, and Magneto turns to Professor X, old Magneto and Professor X, and goes, "All those years wasted to have a few of them back."
Yeah,
you can tell their friendship comes through right there.
Yeah, I think Days of Future Past was a really good film.
Do we talk about it on Comics League? I don't think we did yet.
We haven't covered any of the X-Men films yet.
Someone has to start picking X-Men films.
Well, so honestly, I feel like we should make it a series. Like just watch like the good X-Men films. But we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, but anyway, so going back to this episode, it also says here, though the League finds Ivo's blueprints labeled Amazo, it's never revealed what the letters stood for in DCAU continuity. In the comics, the name Amazo was not an acronym. So they made it an acronym in the show, but it's not in the comics.
So they made it an acronym in the show, but they don't explain what the acronym is.
Apparently, yes.
Why?
I have no idea. Oh, right. Having deduced that Amazo has gained the League's powers as well as the weaknesses, Batman uses kryptonite, which only temporarily stops him. The tactic worked more effectively against the Parasite in the STAS episode Feeding Time. So I may have to check out that episode after this. But
I think they also use that in Superman and Lois too.
They also use that in the Man of Tomorrow movie. That was the first movie of the Tomorrowverse when he fought. Because the main villain is Parasite.
Nice.
You have Superman, Lex Luthor, Martian Manhunter, and Lobo teaming up to take out Parasite. Lobo is awesome.
Lobo, that's an interesting addition.
Yeah, I know. He just shows up randomly and starts attacking Superman. So like, oh, that's
cool. Is Lobo voiced by John DiMaggio at the DCAU? I know in like some continuities, Lobo is voiced by John DiMaggio, and I gotta say, John DiMaggio is like the perfect voice actor for Lobo.
I'm looking it up right now. It looks like Kevin Michael Richardson voices Lobo in Superman and Justice League.
Wow.
So it's not Joe DiMaggio, unfortunately. But I know who you're talking about, and yeah, he's fantastic in that.
I know he's voiced it in like something because like his voice is perfect for Lobo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So on that note, let's wrap it up. Nick, how would you rate this arc?
9.5.
Oh, that is good.
It's solely on the Martian Manhunter subplot.
Like, let's say it didn't have that.
8.5.
Okay, so it doesn't take too much off, but wow.
Like it's like I'm not really sure. Like it's like an 8.5. I'm choosing to be generous in this case.
But I agree with you, 9.5, because this arc is awesome. They do the Martian Manhunter stuff so well. It does seem kind of shoehorned in a little bit, but this is showing Jean's ongoing character arc will also be important, particularly when we get to JLU, because he goes through some stuff on there.
Yeah, like honestly, I would have rated this like a 9, but because John's arc kind of resonated with me, the whole like the fact that they showed both sides, like the whole like despair but learning. I'm kind of a sucker for like despair and learning to hope again. Like I always love those kind of stories, so it's like it kind of pulled at my strings a little bit. So that's why, like, okay, I'll give you a little more.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like those stories. That's why I like Batman's arc in the Snyderverse a lot. I know I'm talking Snyderverse a lot, but if you're coming to Comics League, you can't be surprised by that.
I mean, it's Comics League. Like, if you don't expect us to shoehorn Snyder into anything, By the way, sell Snyder League to Netflix.
Yes, please. So anyway, but it's like with that, you see Batman, what inspires Batman to turn away from his brutal ways? The sacrifice of Superman. He realizes these people are not, he is not, to quote Alfred, he is not our enemy. And
No,
it's like,
that was that was in Man of Steel.
No, that wasn't well, it was also said in Man of Steel, but Alfred said it in BVS when he was arguing with Bruce in the Batcave.
Yeah, I think that was meant to be an echo of Man of Steel, though.
True, but and then the final the moment when you know that the moment when that arc comes hashtag full circle is I'm gonna keep saying that whenever I say the full circle. It's funny, but is when Batman and the League are leaving in the Flying Fox. Batman goes, he'll be here, Alfred. I know it. What makes you so sure? Faith, Alfred. Faith.
Like, honestly, I think they had pretty much made up by, like, right after the Martha scene, like, they had Trust Killer. Also, like probably one of my favorite my favorite lines from BVS is, like, is she with you? No, I thought she, like, it's just such a friendly banter. Like, it's like, I wish we could have got that kind of banter.
But you know what that kind of reminds me of? How much would a bet that was a Super Wonder versus Wonder Bat nod? Is she with you? I thought she was with you. Because in the comics at the time, she was with Superman. So I'm just going to put that in. By the way, yeah.
Oh, speaking of ships, there's kind of a moment where, like, Wonder Woman helps Martian Manhunter, and they go and they're kind of looking.
Don't you dare!
They're looking into each other's eyes. So I guess you could say we have
friendship comfort. Martian doesn't do ships.
I guess we could call this Wonder Martian.
Stop it! Why?
Gotcha.
Why did you say that name?
And by the way, for the issue with you, I thought she was with you. I think we ought to play this for fun. Anyway, I made
Sammy.
That another intro for Snyder Queen when she comes in. It'll be that moment.
I thought she already had that as one of her things.
No, I made her a custom one. But all I'll do is on Superman it'll be my logo. On Batman it'll be your logo. So I'll actually have the logos in the thing. She with you? I thought she was with you, and then it'll be like her logo in the middle.
Please,
yeah, he's picturing it right now.
Yes, please. I want to see this.
And I'm putting your logo on Batfleck, the best version of Batman. Suck it, Keaton.
You want to know what scene I really wish we could have saw in like a future movie? Imagine Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill at like a diner and just like talking about something.
Because I'm Batman.
Because we've seen the scene in like different mediums. Like I just want to see them like hanging out or something.
Like the League is. It's like the League. It's like it's a slow day at the League, so they go out for like coffee, and they're sitting in Bruce Wayne's like Mercedes Benz from Justice League, just drinking coffee.
Oh, imagine. Okay, imagine it's a Man of Steel 2, and we're in like Clark's apartment, and like you see like on the mantle, there's Warhammer figures, like Warhammer minis. And then it's revealed when
we first see Clark, he's painting the minis.
Well, no, but like we just see him, and it's also revealed in the back behind the scenes that like those are Henry Cavill's personal Warhammer figures, and it just he showed up on set one day and he asked to put him in the scene, and we were like, okay,
yeah, and it would be kind of cool. What would be interesting is if they did like, and then on the mantle is like a picture of the League. His new friends who are like him, because we notice throughout the universe from Man of Steel, Superman was trying to find people like him.
Imagine if they did something similar to the Swarma scene from the end of the Avengers.
Well, here's the thing. There was a moment in the Justice League when they reformed the League after Infinite Crisis. So Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman reform it. It had like Black Canary, Red Arrow, Vixen, Geoforce, and Red Tornado. But anyway, so they take a group photo, and then Hal's like, it was Clark's idea. But anyway, so we're gonna call this one. I hope you guys enjoyed our colorful commentary on the Snyderverse. But on that note, by the way, I just want to say I want to do a live view check of the fan edit. I want to very much say I appreciate all you guys watching my Zack Snyder Superman fan edit. It now has 664 plays. It is now my highest played fan edit. Expect more of those in the future. You guys have spoken, and I shall answer. I need a thing. Whenever a fan requests more of something or like a video of mine in the comments, I should have a drop of King Theoden going, and Rohan shall answer. There's so many clips I need to get. But anyway, so I agree with Nick. I give it I'd say a 9.5 out of 10 because it's awesome. So stay heroic, everyone, and I will see you guys in the very next episode. Don't you dare say it, Nick. Don't you dare say it, Nick.
Super Wonder.